Right guys, bit of a different one today. I've recently took delivery of two more of the 4-tier 2 metre wide ProfiDrum shower filters. As you can see behind me, to my right is one of the new ones that's recently just been put in situ. We've not yet fully got that installed. And to the left is one that's been running for a little while to much benefit. Now, shower filters become a very common part of koi keeping in the UK these days. And globally, in fact, since they were sort of introduced by Momotaro, sort of like as a variation to trickle filtration, the trickle towers that have been in existence for donkey's years, quite frankly. Lots and lots of benefits to them. There are a few cons as well. I'm going to just talk about this system more specifically so you can get my train of thought and see where I've gone with it, and the other ponds in here that's being installed now. We spoke a lot about these ponds. It's one of the 3,500 gallon growing ponds, single bottom drain that runs to a drum filter, then to a chamber full of K1. There's 500 litres in there, two dedicated air pumps, one running straight into the pond and one driving the fluid bed. Turnover rate in the system is about 8,000 litres an hour, so it's hitting once every 2 hours as it stands now. These ponds do perform incredibly well under high feeding. The K1 handles it superbly. But for me, it's all about tweaking and getting absolute maximum performance. There are limitations to these ponds at the height of summer when feeding hits the absolute peak. We do struggle, and we do sort of hit a wall where I know I can't really push it any further. So the aim of the showers is to sort of push through that wall. Now, thinking about the process, I think there's two elements that sort of come into play during that part of the summer. One, biologically, we're processing as much as we can handle, and mechanically to some point, not forgetting that biological filtration plays a big part in mechanical filtration as well. So yeah, we hit the ceiling there, and as well as that, I believe that the biggest problem is the turnover of the pond now. I do believe in most instances, for hobbyists, for you guys, a turnover once every 2 hours or so is more than sufficient. It's only when, and logic applies here, when the feeding levels hit crazy patterns and crazy heights, we need to be passing that water through the filter system much more frequently in order to maintain good parameters. Now, the feeding pattern in here from 6 until 10 at the evening is every 2 hours, so there's a big surge of food and then waste product coming from the fish every 2 hours into the system. So turning over once every 2 hours, we're thereabouts, but I don't believe it's enough. So adding the shower, what we're going to do there, in this particular instance, it's being installed with a 30,000 litre pump. So if we take, just a guesstimation, taking off head height, we're going to say we're probably now going to increase the turnover to 30,000 litres an hour in this pond, which is going to be about 1.5 times every hour, which is a massive difference. The other massively added benefit to all this is the oxygen levels. Now, I've been doing quite a lot of playing around and testing with the oxygen levels in here just recently, and the saturation on this pond in particular, where this is being installed, is you know, wanting to be a lot better than what it is. In comparison, other ponds that are stocked heavier than this, that are running the showers, have much better oxygen saturation. Now, it is a great way to increase oxygen saturation, but ultimately a costly one as well, because the pumps that we're using are big ones, 30,000 litre pump there, running flat out at just over 400 watts. So that is going to cause, you know, increased running costs quite substantially. In this case, I know from these other ponds, this, you know, the costs are going to be far outweighed by the results. So not a concern for me. But if you are out there, you know, struggling with running costs with rising electricity bills these days, these aren't an essential piece of equipment unless it is, of course, your main filter system. Should it be your main filter system? Possibly not. They're not the most efficient because we're having to pump water at head. So it's always going to cost more money to do that. And to get the real best effects out of a shower, you really do need to have a decent flow rate over them to get the water sort of crashing effect that's needed. So yeah, I'll be interested to see where the oxygen saturation goes with this in the coming days. The water's really warm, it's sort of 25 degrees at the minute, so the media is going to mature fairly quickly. But not to forget that in a shower, you know, the degassing effect, the actual effect of the shower, plays a big part in its performance as well. So we're going to get some rubs from it straight away. So yeah, Next steps from now, we're going to get in, just have a brief look at the installation, then the media, and finally get it kicked up and running. And yeah, can't wait for that. Right, filter media, obviously quite an important part of a shower. Well, I say important, I don't think it's the most important, but we do need something in there, obviously, to take advantage of the additional biological capacity that we can get. Now, 4-tier system here, 2 metre wide, we can get a hell of a lot of media in it. I think it's approximately 130 kilos that's going to go into one of these, so huge capacity. All I'm looking for in a media generally is something robust enough to last, something in there for the water to smash against in order to obviously decrease the sort of molecule size and get the degassing effect. And yeah, something porous enough as well that can obviously, as the water's hitting over it, you know, spend enough time with the water contacting with the bacteria to actually do something as well. So in this instance, obviously cost being quite important. Bakki House or Bakki Showers comes from the term created by Momotaro Koi Farm, who were the guys that originally came up with this concept, and that's using the Bakki House media, the genuine stuff from Japan. Never personally tried it. The stuff is pretty damn expensive. To fill a shower like this is just going to be, you know, hugely cost prohibitive for a lot of people. And for me personally, I need to try it at some point, but as it stands, I'm not sure what benefits I'm truly going to get from it that I won't get from the natural action of the shower anyway. I'm pretty convinced they'll smashed up house bricks and do, you know, a sufficient enough job anyway if you get the right flow rate over it. So on that basis, this stuff, the Shigure bacteria home media that's been on the market, I've found to be pretty damn effective. It's certainly cost effective, much more, it's substantially cheaper. Really good stuff, really lightweight when it's dry, porous, incredibly porous to be honest with you. The weight of it now compared to when it goes in the water is quite phenomenal really. And we can get plenty of it in there. You see how porous that is. We've got the hole in the middle as well for all that increased surface area. Now, this has been great. I've had this running in 2 of the showers that are here already, and yeah, I've no complaints. It's doing the job. The whole shower itself is doing the job and what I needed it to. The only issue, and something I'm doing different today, the tank of water in front of us, is just to give this a quick rinse beforehand, because what I found, you can see it's naturally quite flaky with bits coming away. There's a lot of bits in the box as well when we take it out. So what I did find in one pond last year when I launched one of these for the first time, and I just stacked this in dry out the box, was that I had an incredible amount of irritation and excess flashing in the ponds for a period of about 3 months, to be honest with you. It's just something I couldn't get on top of and get control of. There was nothing else in the pond indicating that them fish should be flashing. And now looking back in hindsight and remembering the amount of particles from this I saw at the bottom of the shower, it was more than likely the cause, in my opinion. So this time I'm just going to dump a load of the media into this vat of fresh water, give it all a stir around just to try and slough some of it off before the water starts hitting it, and then going to get it added into the shower. So of the 4 tiers of the shower this time, in the past I've filled all 4 up with this media. This time I'm actually only going to be filling 3, because we're going to look to use some kind of substrate in the top to help maintain the KH, because we're burning a substantial amount of KH in these systems. And yeah, possibly oyster shells or lithaqua, something like that, can just absorb some of the acid and help keep the KH in the system for longer, so and without needing to use too much fresh water as well. So yeah, I'm going to get on with that now, so get them filled up, and then we'll take a look, just an overview of the installation and get this baby running. You can see I don't throw this in any particular order, just get it whacked in, make sure we get full coverage. A random order is a little bit better actually, and let water just find its natural course, as it always will do. Certainly now, even after giving that a good rinse, I can feel all the bits still on the media, so Just going to give that an additional rinse. Not filling it too high, just trying to just sort of use that as a guide and a leveler. Just trying to get rid of the bottom of the shower. So just to demonstrate how porous this media actually is, that's a piece straight out of the box. Weighs in there 57 grams, 56 grams exactly. We'll chuck that in the water for a minute. While that's in there as well, just bring your attention to the amount of sediment in the bottom of this tank. This is just from 3 boxes, so 30 kilos of media. It's not fully finished settling out yet either, but you can see the vast amount. I mean, I can get clumps of this. That is ceramic. That's not going to dissolve in the water anytime soon. You can even hear, you know, that's quite rough, coarse. That passing through the system is for sure going to irritate the fish. So having seen this now, I'm absolutely convinced that's what caused the irritation in that system. There is still some, as I'm getting the media and putting it in, you can feel it obviously still attached to the media. There's going to be an element of that, but I'm just trying to reduce that as much as possible. You can see that's now 159 grams, an incredible amount of weight taken on board there from the water that's absorbed in quite a, you know, in a minute or so. So you can see there that that is porous, the water is going to pass through that, and it's, yeah, going to do a grand job. So there we have that bit. And yeah, let's put it back together now, get the rest in and show you the installation. Right guys, so the installation. First, the shower. We've done a few cutaway clips for you to see, get a general idea of the build quality of these things. The reason I chose ProfiDrum, which is now manufactured in the UK. In all honesty, I'm quite good friends with one of the owners of that business, but I've managed to get an insight as well into the build quality of not only the drums, but obviously these things. The weld quality, the thickness of the plastic, there's just no expense spared on these. You can even see in the bottom the whole thing water jet cut on the machine. It's not just a grid placed in. They're absolutely solid and should last a lifetime, so money well spent in my opinion. Them guys do a cracking job, and hence why I brought them in to consult on replacing these drum filters that I'm having an absolute mare with at the minute, because the fact of the matter is they were cheap at the time and they're not doing the job long term. Pump wise, we can see here I've chose the EA Vari Pump 30,000. I've been impressed with these. Like I said, I've had 2 running now for quite a while. Love the fact obviously I've got control over the wattage and the output, so during winter I did reduce the showers right down to sort of like 50% on the pump, because I just didn't need all that turnover. Feeding was at a bare minimum. I didn't obviously want to turn it off because I didn't want to kill the biological side of the filter off. So I just reduced it right down to save myself some running costs. But now as the season kicks on, they'll get turned up to full to get that turnover and all the full benefits that I need. Reliability wise so far, they've been absolutely superb. Yeah, it's just a good all-round, well put together pump, and very competitive price wise, to be honest with you. And even, you know, running flat out 100%, just over 400 watts, I really don't think it's all that bad for what the initial investment is on the pump as well. The pump is just installed, you won't really see it, but we're just pumping straight out of the bottom of the pond up into the shower. No mechanical filtration beforehand. There's not going to be huge amounts of solid waste pass up here, but there will be some. But obviously, first of all, the pump's going to grind that up, and then we're going to rely on the filter bacteria to play its part and actually consume that waste while it's in the filter. If anything's too heavy, it should slough off, pass back into the system, and go down the main mechanical route at some point for the drum to take it away. Installation's quite simple. I've just got a demountable 2-inch union fixed to the pump, and then as we see up here, just a 2-inch pipe run. Just use a demountable union here as well. Really simply, look, just so at any point if I just need to get the top half of this off, even without undoing the rubber boot at the top, it's really easy to, or just demount that and get the pump out as well. So yeah, decided to use pressure pipes again. If you can afford it, for the difference that it is, the quality is just so much better, the longevity of it and reliability of it, in all honesty. So yeah, we've got that, and then just straight up to the 2-inch boot at the top, so we're not actually welding anything onto the shower, which is important. If I ever decide I wanted to sell these in future, Don't get me wrong, it's not a big deal if you've got a connection welded in, but it's much better just to have you know, the fitting you can pull off. And you can just see there the mounting box for the variable pump. Really quite easy, turn the pump on and off, as simple as that. And then we just set the flow of the pump here. We can see just by decreasing it from a percentage perspective. And then when you've eventually let that settle a minute, it gives an output on the wattage and the consumption at that moment in time. So yeah, great pump, great system, really simple, and proven to me already that it's doing the job with the ones that have been installed already. So I can't wait to see the benefits from these now. So all that's left is to fire that baby up. We'll crank it up to max and away we go. You can possibly already hear that running. I've got the lid off the shower at the minute. We can see that's just an incredible amount of flow passing out of there. At this moment in time, I'm leaving the, with the previous showers, I filled the top tier with the bacteria home media. But like I've said, I'm going to leave them in this instance to actually put a substrate in there to control the KH. So like I say, oyster shells, Olis aqua, something like that. So yeah, the last look, we'll just get a look at the spray bar inside. You can see the sort of pressure and velocity it's pumping at, and yeah, we'll let the fish start enjoying their new bit of equipment.